car that people called the Devil's Carriage. Horses ran away just hearing its sound, and the inventor's own wife stole it in the middle of the night and drove it over 100 kilometers. This is the unbelievable story of the world's very first car, the car that eventually became Mercedes-Benz. The year was 1885. The place was Mannheim, Germany. A man named Karl Benz, a German mechanical engineer, was staying up late every single night in his tiny workshop, building something the world had never seen before. Back then, people traveled in horse-drawn carriages. Nobody, and I mean nobody, ever imagined that a vehicle could move without a horse pulling it. But Karl Benz did the impossible. On January 29, 1886, he officially registered the patent for his invention, patent number 37,435, which is still known today as the official birth certificate of the automobile. And that invention was called the Benz Patent-Motorwagen Model 1. Now you're probably imagining some sleek, shiny car, right? Wrong. This thing looked like a giant three-wheeled bicycle. Yes, it had only 3 wheels. Wire-spoked wheels with solid rubber tires, just like a bicycle. The frame was built from steel tubes and wooden panels. And here's the crazy part. There was no steering wheel. Instead, there was just a handle called a tiller that the driver would push left and right to steer. No roof, no doors, no windshield, completely open air. Whether it was burning sun, pouring rain, or a dust storm, the driver just sat there, exposed to everything. Now let's talk about the heart of this machine, the engine. It had a 954 cubic centimeter single-cylinder 4-stroke engine mounted at the back of the vehicle. And the power? Just 0.75 horsepower. Let that sink in. Today's cars have 100 to 500 horsepower, and this one had less than 1. The top speed? Only 16 kilometers per hour. That means a fast runner today could actually beat this car in a race. And the cooling system? There was no radiator. They just poured water over the engine. It would heat up, turn into steam, and evaporate. And then they had to pour water all over again. But here's the most shocking part. There were no gas stations back then. So where did they get fuel? From a pharmacy. Yes, a drugstore. They bought a chemical called Legroin from the chemist shop, and that was the fuel. Now the interior. What interior? There was literally just one leather bench seat, enough for 2 people. The engine sat right behind the driver, completely exposed. All the noise, all the heat, hitting the driver directly. No air conditioning, no music system, no seatbelt. You just sat down and basically risked your life. Now here comes the most interesting part. How did people react? When Karl Benz drove this car in public for the first time in July 1886, people were absolutely terrified. They called it the Devil's Carriage. They said it was witchcraft. They said it was dark magic. Horses would panic and run away hearing the engine noise. Children would cry. Old people would turn their faces away. Nobody could believe that something could move on its own without a horse. People laughed at Karl Benz. They called him a madman. They said this machine has absolutely no future. But there was one person who believed in Karl with all her heart, and that was his wife, Bertha Benz. One early morning in August 1888, while Karl was fast asleep, Bertha secretly took the car out of the workshop, put her 2 teenage sons, Eugen and Richard, in the seat, and started driving from Mannheim to Pforzheim. That's over 100 kilometers, the world's first ever long-distance car journey. When the fuel ran out on the road, she stopped at a pharmacy and bought Legroin. When the fuel line got clogged, she unclogged it with her own hat pin. When the brakes wore out completely, she went to a shoemaker and got new leather brake pads made. Those were literally the world's first brake pads ever. Bertha Benz proved to the entire world that this car was not just a workshop toy. This machine could actually change the world. And from that one tiny 3-wheeled car rose one of the greatest automotive empires in history, Mercedes-Benz. So remember this. Every single car you see on the road today, every Ferrari, every BMW, every Toyota, They all owe their existence to that tiny 0.75 horsepower three-wheeled machine that the whole world once called madness.